Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Joining me from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast is my co-host, Rebellious D. How you doing today, bro?
Ready to rock, man.
Hey,
ready to rock.
Coffee mug. Hey, what you got in that coffee mug? I hope it's hot cocoa with giant marshmallow.
If I told you, it'd take away the flair. I can't tell you.
But yeah, today we are doing a review, as you can see on the screen, for Cowboy Bebop, the new series that just came out on Netflix. And, me and D were huge fans of the show. And before we get into today's review, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And D, like you tell everybody on every episode.
Podcast in the description. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Happy Turkey Day, and thank you for watching.
That's right. So this series, it was announced last year, and it was originally supposed to come out last year, I believe, but it got pushed back because of the pandemic and whatnot. And I remember when it was initially announced, I know that people were just like, it was kind of split. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you had some people that was just like, okay, I can see this working. Then, of course, you had some people that was just like the meme of the manga adaptation, the Netflix, the anime adaptation, and then the Netflix adaptation. And, I knew who all the actors were that were going to be appearing in this. So I was looking forward to it. The only person that I didn't know was the actor that was playing Vicious. But I knew, of course, everybody knows who John Cho is. And then Mustafa Shakir, he was on Luke Cage season 2 as Bushmaster. So I knew who he was. And Daniela Pineda, she was in the Jurassic World Lost Kingdom movie. So It's like when they were announced, I was just like, okay, cool. The only person that they didn't announce was Ed, which we're going to get to that in this review. But D, I want to ask you, when the cast was initially announced, like, what was your reaction to it?
I like the casting choices. They're all established, but I do have my gripes with Faye Valentine as a character. She's probably the one oddball for me. I think they could have just got somebody to kind of match Faye a little bit better. I
get what you're saying.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But I mean, of course I was hyped. It's a live action of something we grew up with.
Yep.
You got to give it a shot. And I don't think I thought that the show overall was very well done.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I agree with you, man. I thought it was a really good show. I know that the fandom has kind of been split on it. You have some people who watched the first episode and they didn't watch it anymore after that. Then you had some people who watched it all the way through and they just weren't a fan of the series. Then you had some people who watched it like us and we were just like, yo, like, this is pretty good. I can't wait until season 2 drops. But yeah, man, it's like we interviewed Mason Alexander Park. We had them come up here before the series came out, and they were an awesome person. So make sure that you check out their interview. It is up here on our YouTube, or you can listen to it on the podcast. And then, of course, too, we interviewed Bo Billingsley, who voiced Jet Black. I just want to make sure that we plug these people that we had a part of the Cowboy Bebop universe before we get into this review as well. But yeah, man, it's like I enjoyed it. I watched the first episode. I thought that it was okay. I wasn't really like hyped or invested into it. I felt like, I had to watch a couple of episodes before I got fully invested into it, because the Netflix series is a lot different than what I was expecting. When it comes to these live action animes, I like to have low expectations for it because you just never know what's going to happen. And I think that they delivered on it. I enjoyed the fact that they gave more backstory on some of the characters. They also changed certain elements so that way that they could, develop these characters. And, like with Jet, like I thought it was interesting that, he had a daughter. We find out because of, everything that happened in his past that he ended up losing his wife and everything. It was different. You know what I'm saying? I just like the fact
I gotta push back a little bit because I just don't. After season 1 wraps up, I don't really like the feeling of Jet coming off as like a loser dad.
It did come off like he was a loser, but it wasn't his fault.
And I understand, and it's just like Jet's basically like the dad of the ship. And it's just, I felt a little wrong that they did that to him, man. Cause it just felt out of place. It's like, And it's like she called the other guy
daddy. And Jet was just sitting. I mean, but you gotta understand, man. It's just like I like the fact that it's like, even though Jet is divorced from his wife and he has a daughter, it's like he still tries to make things right with his daughter. You know what I'm saying? And I just hope that we see what's going to happen in season 2, because I mean, the entire time, if I could compare it to anything, I don't know if you watched Squid Game, but like that was one of the things that the main character in Squid Game, it's like, he had a relationship with his daughter, but it's like he kept letting her down. And I kind of feel like that's what was going on with Jet, where it's like he's a bounty. He's a
cowboy, as they call him.
Yeah, he's a cowboy. And his work comes first. So I understand why his family looks at him the way that he does. But one of the biggest changes was Spike's backstory. And it's like his name was Fearless. And I watched the anime back in the day.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where it's like I watched it that one time and it's like I really don't remember a lot of stuff. And so I had to check it out to see if in the original series, like if Spike was called Fearless. I knew Jet didn't have a daughter in the original anime. I know that he had the relationship with his friend's daughter. But yeah, I mean, like I just feel like that the changes that they added, I feel like it just helped expand more on the characters and the setting and whatnot. What do you think?
I mean, as far as the changes that they made, for the most part, it wasn't one thing that I really couldn't get on board with was having Julia kind of come into her own towards the end of it. Whereas in the anime, she's basically just a thought, she just everything with her had already happened. And basically it was just Spike piecing together the puzzle, and obviously him and Vicious have the confrontation. And Jet is literally just a guy that owns a ship trying to get by. It's just like I didn't really feel like I needed more added, but I will say that the acting really delivers, and it's just the chemistry between Jet and Spike specifically I felt carried season 1. And it was just so well done, and they got along so well on screen and stuff. And it was nice. I thought it was a very good screen adaptation. Now, as far as Faye, something you and I talked about, is kind of like they spruced her up a little bit more than she originally was. She was just basically a con artist. But in this, she's like cussing left and right. And, they changed up the outfit. I wasn't a fan of that. It's just like Faye was that female character for us growing up.
She was a badass.
Yeah. And she was like, the appeal was a little higher, I guess. The visual, her attitude was a little different, but it was okay. It's
like the Faye in the anime, it's like she was sexy, where this Faye was more tame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, another thing too that I had talked with some of my friends about was I was disappointed that there weren't really a lot of space battles, because that's something else that was in the original anime, where it's like, you see the space battles. But I will say that I did like the touches that they added whenever they did bring in certain elements from the anime, like certain characters and certain sequences and stuff that were in the original anime. I thought that was cool.
I mean, of course.
One of my friends mentioned that he stopped watching because he wasn't a fan of the fight choreography on the show, and I understood where he was coming from. It's like, don't get me wrong, like I like John Cho. I think that he's an amazing actor, but it's like I just kind of feel like that this role should have went to somebody that was like a martial artist or something like that, if that makes any sense. You get what I'm saying?
It does, but at the same time, I think that he delivered as Spike every other time outside of the fight. You know?
Exactly.
I don't think that was enough to take it away from him. If if they had more of like a Marvel budget, I have no idea what the budget is for this, but you know how Marvel was able to use their doubles in place a lot and different camera shots, and then it just looks flawless when it's put together, because he actually did really good as Spike, surprisingly.
I think he did do a good
job.
Just
the combat, I can agree with your friend's take on that. It seemed a little stiff and not like Spike was like kung fu.
It was like water.
It
flowed like water. You know what I'm saying? Right. And like that was the only thing. And like I said, I think he did a good job. I think that the sequences that he did have, I thought it was awesome. It's just certain fight elements, you know what I'm saying? It didn't because like I started watching the anime again after I watched the live action, and I'm just like it's two different things, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, other than that, I mean, the stuff that we're nitpicking about, like they're on a much smaller scale. I mean, I know some people are like, trashing this entire series, and it's not trashable. Like it's a good series. I do wish that Trav was here with us because Trav is a diehard Cowboy Bebop fan, and he told me that he's loved it, from episode 1 to where he's at now. And I don't know if he finished the series, but I mean, like it's a good viewing. I'm glad that it is getting a season 2 because I was expecting that it was just going to be one of those things where it's just like everything wrapped up at the end.
It was just too much to put into a season, though.
Exactly.
Once you pick up about halfway through, you get the feeling that this isn't going to be just a one season, a one trick pony, if you will.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
So now it's like I'm wondering, because they created their own world, it's just like, where do they go from here? Because it's like they change certain elements, like a
lot of elements.
The whole
Julia dynamic is different.
Yeah, the Julia dynamic. It's like now she's the boss of the syndicate now. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched it. I'm sorry, but she's the boss now. Vicious is still alive, and that's another thing too. It's like they kind of made Vicious like Kylo Ren, whereas in the anime, like he was just he was a badass.
Yeah, I would have liked his casting, not just Faye, but Vicious. I think they could have done a little bit better with him as well. This guy was just a little too stiff for me. I don't know. It was just he just didn't sell it well to me. Well, Vicious is like an iconic villain as far as I'm concerned.
I get what you're saying. Well, it's like in the first episode when they showed him, I was hyped because it's like,
where's the bird at? Where's this goddamn bird?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
The bird's supposed to blow up, and then that's when he takes over, and it was just certain things.
He was afraid when he found out that Spike was alive. And
that never.
It's just like, no, like this dude in the anime, like he was a badass. Like people were afraid of this man. So
correct.
It's just one of those things where it's just like certain changes didn't
carry over well.
I know some people are complaining that Faye is a lesbian now, and it's like I get it because it's
interesting though, Banks, because it's like, when you watch the anime the whole way through, you kind of get the sense that she and Spike were kind of like
are going to become something.
Yeah, but then that's the beauty of the story, because that never, you don't get that. Yeah. And I thought that it was an element, like they just kind of cared about each other as a team after a while. And it's just like, are we going to get to that, or what are we doing? Julia is still alive. It's a lot to take in and digest, because like, what are we doing with Julia now?
Yeah, because now the Spike is he going to get revenge because she shot him out the window? And it's like, I understand why she felt the way that she felt, where, she was just like, you never came back. You knew where I was. And he was just like, well, and Vicious was like, well, I told him that you chose me. And she was like, you believed him? And, also too, and it's like, I don't really like nitpick, but just the whole sequence of how Julia and Spike fell in love. Like, I wish that it was something along the lines of, it's just like, there was something there between them, but then she ended up getting with Vicious. Whereas in this, it's just like, Julia and Vicious, they ended up dating each other and whatnot. Yeah. And then Spike and Julia, they dance on the dance floor. Somebody takes a picture of them, and then Spike takes her home, and then it's just like they have sex. There we go. I was trying to think of like the PG word, but I'm just like, but where was the chemistry between it? Like why did because that was his best friend, and Spike said,
what's the reasoning behind it all?
Yeah, what was the reasoning behind them doing what they did? Because it's just like there was never anything there between them before that. So it's just like they did what they did. That was his best friend. He said that he owed Vicious everything. So like, why would he sleep with his best friend's
needed to
girl?
Be fleshed out. And see, it's interesting you bring that up, because it's like, I think that's the problem when you expand on things. If it's not, if you're not precise in what you're doing, because that's the beauty of the anime. Once again, is that you kind of like you get dropped right into the middle of a story, and it's like they don't really go into it. Then you just know that they both like this girl and she ends up dead.
Yeah,
and then they hate each other basically.
Yeah,
and it's some things are better left alone, in a way, because now it's like if you don't explain it right and the diehard fans don't agree with what the reasoning that you're giving us, then guess what? They're gonna come after you. So
just like them kids came after Trav on that spot.
Yeah, that one time. Hey, easy. Hey, that rain. I will say that I really enjoyed the little subtle hints and timing of the music that they used from the original soundtrack. It was just reminiscent.
Yeah, I did think that it was awesome on episode 9 that they played the real folk blues, because see, I thought it was going to be something where it's like that was going to be the ending theme for each episode, but it seemed like each episode had a different ending theme. And I just love that when they showed the flashback of Spike and Fearless and Vicious and how they came up together and whatnot, how Vicious was a hothead. And I can't think of, it's either an anime, a movie, or a TV show, but where has that dynamic been before, where it's just like one person is the hothead, the other one is the calm one, and then
Mugen and Jean. They come to mind. Mugen and Jean from Samurai Champloo.
No, but they weren't friends. It's like they just they ended up just meeting each other and they fought each other. But like I'm trying to think, like there is something out there. Let us know in the comments, because I'm pretty sure that you guys know, and I'm just having a brain fart. But there's something out there where it's just like there was two people, and then something happens because one person is just a hothead. They keep trying to calm him down, and then he ends up killing somebody, and then it's just like, From Dusk Till Dawn, the Gecko brothers.
Well, they were both crazy.
Well, no, they weren't crazy. They were just criminals.
Man, they were crazy. George Clooney's was. Not the
George
director.
Clooney's,
what's his name? He was the calm one.
Yeah, he was the calm one.
God, who was Del Toro?
No,
he plays
Del
Toro. Is that him? No, what's that guy's
Quentin
name?
Tarantino.
Yes.
But remember, it's just like, he
was crazy.
Yeah, he was crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying about with Vicious. Like, remember, it's just like George Clooney's character, and I'm mad that I can't remember their names, but he was the calm one. He always remained cool under pressure and whatnot. But then his brother,
he was the older one, right?
Yeah, he was the older one. It was like, then it's like his brother. It's just like, remember, he killed the girl, and he was just like, why'd you kill? And like that's pretty much what Vicious, because the dude told Vicious that him and Fearless needed to lay low, and then what did he do? He went and he killed the person, and then it's just like he messed it up for everybody. And I understood why Spike did what he did, so that way that he could save Vicious, because if not, then Vicious was going to die, and he owed him that. So I did enjoy that aspect of the backstory, where it's just like, like they were really good friends, but at the same time, it's just like he screwed his best friend's girl. So it's like at the end of the day, dynamic. Spike was he was in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? He should have just never did what he did. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in season 2. I like how we got Ed at the end of it, and now Ed and Spike are going to be together. Spike, he had the falling out with Jet, like, if I see you again, I'm gonna kill you. And then Faye, she kind of went her own way. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen now. And I'm going to ask you this. Do you think when it comes down to it, do you think that Spike will be able to kill Julia?
This is a very loaded question, because you still have Vicious, who is being chained up, and he was basically wronged by Spike. He is her personal prisoner, and she's taken over, usurped power from the syndicate from him, basically. And it's just, yes, I want to say yes is the answer, but it's like, are we going to get some sort of weird team up between him and Vicious? Because this is totally new territory now. This isn't, she's like the wrench in this plan, because it's like, is she going to become some sort of badass now, or I don't know what they're going to do.
You know what else this reminds me of?
What?
Because when I was watching this, I was definitely getting Gotham vibes from it. And I mean, like, she's pretty much like what was it? Was it Barbara Keene? Remember, it's just like she went crazy. Yeah, she became a badass. So I mean, it's just like, because like I said, we had Mason Alexander Park up here on our podcast, and Mason's character on the show, like they reminded me of Penguin from Gotham, but just not on the same level as Penguin, where Penguin just went crazy. But I mean, who knows? Like Mason's character, what was it? Jen? Gren, I'm sorry. Gren. It's like Gren could become a bigger role in season 2. And D, also too, I want to ask you this. How many seasons do you think that we're going to get? Do you think that season 2 is going to be it, or do you think that we're going to get 3 seasons?
Now, I'm glad you asked this question, and I hope that Mason, I hope that they get another. I would love to see them play some sort of a villainous role. I always think that, it comes off natural, and I hope to see them play in some other roles soon. But I think that we may get 3 seasons out of this if it can stay above water long enough, because and the one thing too that I love about the original adaptation of this is that it's a bunch of like there's the episode where the leftovers in the fridge come to life and start singing. Yeah, and it's just it's just a lot of like, what the hell's going on, and then it's like, okay, we're back on the ship. And I wanted to see more of Spike. Like in the cartoon, there's a couple times where he just wakes up and he's back on the couch and he's like bandaged up and stuff. Yeah, and it's just Jet got a lot of play in this, and he's not always around when Spike's doing stuff. Sometimes he's back on the ship. Yeah, just and it's chilling. I don't want to ramble, but it's like I feel like there's more of those little episodic moments in the anime that I'm used to. Yeah, and I would like to see them. That's why I say I could see it going 3, but it just depends on what they put in the middle. Yeah, now they've had the falling out aspect, which is something kind of new. It's just I can't wait to see what they do in season 2.
Well, I was telling one of my friends earlier that I like the fact that when you watch like the first couple of episodes, it's like this series is dialogue heavy. You know what I'm saying? And exactly. And I enjoy that because it's like we're getting hour-long episodes compared to the 30-minute episode or 24-minute episodes of the original anime. And I feel like you have to have this dialogue so that way that you can build the relationships and bonds between these characters. I know that you've mentioned Faye, and it just kind of feels like she's just there on the ship. It doesn't really feel like.
Also, it feels like they introduced. I don't know if they introduced her early, is it? But it was like it's kind of like she just popped up and then she was just.
Yeah, it was the first episode because it's like her and Spike, they were trying to get the same dude on the first episode. Whereas in the anime, she appears like she's working at a casino, and as Spike, she has the chip or something like that. And then Spike takes the chip, and
I vaguely remember that.
Ends up getting on the Bebop, and then she escapes, and then she's stranded in space because she runs out of fuel, and then she gets back on the Bebop, and then she joins their team. Like that's how she joins the team. Whereas in this, it's just like she's just another bounty hunter that Spike encounters while he's trying to hunt down the bounty that they're after. Couple. So yeah, I mean, like all in all, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say mine first, and you can say yours.
Go for it.
My rating for this show, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought that the action was on point. I thought the music was on point. I love the character development. I loved the team up between, well, not the team up, but the relationship between Spike and Jet. I really enjoyed that, and how they had the falling out at the end. It's like, I just want to see if that's going to be resolved. And hopefully this show does get a season 2, because we know how Netflix can be when it comes to creating something and then we don't get a follow-up. So I'm hoping that this does get a season 2, but yeah, for me, 8 out of 10, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. What about you, D?
I'm going to go ahead and give this a 7 out of 10. I love the, obviously you love the soundtrack, that goes without saying. Thought the chemistry on set was really well done. The costume design and stuff outside of the changing of Faye stuff. Everything else was pretty spot on, and I'm curious to see why they changed her stuff up. I guess it might have just been to appease the actress, or I don't really know. Everybody else looked, like they were supposed to look, but she was the only one that I think that got changed. But let me see. Visually, it was really good. I just wanted the delivery of certain characters to be a little sharper, meaning Faye and Vicious. It's like Vicious was that guy growing up for me. He's definitely top 3 growing up villains. Top 3. Okay. And I don't know. I want to see how they're gonna expand. They're giving us new territory here with the adding of Julia into the current storyline. So we'll see. 7 out of 10 for me.
Nice. All right. So everybody that's watching, let us know in the comments what you thought about Cowboy Bebop season 1. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you stop watching after the first episode? Let us know what your rating is. D, let them know where they can find you at in social media land.
You can find me at rebellious_D23 at Instagram.com. Hey, and Banks, they try. Look, the group falling apart, and Jet needs somebody to lean on. Where can he find you at?
Hey, he can find me, your hero Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks. On Twitter and Instagram, you can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you again, everybody, for watching our review. Make sure that you check out some more of our reviews that we have here on the channel, along with interviews and reaction videos. Our podcast, where we have brand new episodes every Tuesday, and then the video of that episode is up here on YouTube that Friday. Stay safe. Keep that pinky up. The Great Turkey War is in a few days. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.